So welcome, Monkey King. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm good. So, how is it going with the like 50K? I think you got the bonus, didn't you?
Oh yeah, I got the bonus, the 50K. I'm just saving it for a rainy day. We'll see what we're gonna do with that money. I'm not the person, even though I was tempted to buy a Tesla, but that's not something you do. That's a athlete negative stereotype. So I'm just saving it for a rainy day, and yeah, maybe I'll buy some books or something. Who knows?
Yeah, it's definitely the good thing to do when you get that. Maybe when you get a few more, you can buy that Tesla.
Hmm.
So obviously, you're coming off a really good debut for yourself. 22 seconds slam. It was kind of, I don't know if you was expecting to do that or not, but it was a surprise for everyone, I think.
It was definitely a surprise for me. You try to hurt somebody with a slam, knock the wind out of them, and I was getting ready to like land my finishing blow, and I was like, "Oh no, I don't need to do that anymore."
Mhm.
So the slam, I tried to do it, but definitely got a result I wasn't expecting.
Yeah, yeah, because I was watching your Dana White Contender Series fight, and then a few times in that fight, you managed to do a pretty good slams. Like you heard the exact same sound that it would make it made in this one, but this time you just had the arm across the neck, which was obviously what done it for you.
Yeah, I learned from my mistakes in that fight. I was like, my contender's fight, he tried to jump triangle. I was like, "Oh, slam him!" And I'm like, I forgot that little Gerald Harris form across the neck trick, but I wasn't gonna make the same mistake 2 fights in a row. So
Of course, yeah, yeah. And like you said, he was out right away, and you saw there was no follow up strikes needed, which you don't see it that often in MMA really, because most fighters fight till the referee pulls you off.
yeah, I don't really see the need for that. You know, when you spar and you ring someone's bell, you know when to stop and ask if they're okay. It seems a little weird that in a fight, I don't know what's happening. Like, don't you do this every day? But I'm not the fighter that needs to see red when I go out there, so I can't say how it is for other fighters. But for me, I knew it was done, so I got out of there.
Yeah, yeah. I think that was definitely a talking point for some people, is the fact that you're that aware of what you're doing. You didn't need to land that extra punch, because some people, I've seen like some people actually gave you criticism for the way you celebrated the fight, but it's like you can't really say that, because you didn't do the bad thing that the normal people do. Like if you look at George Masvidal against Spaneskin, the after strikes in that were not necessary, and what he said was it was super necessary.
Yeah, it's funny that we'll make people angry.
Hmm.
You know, you could knock somebody out, jump into their corner, do some fake dollar bills. You can cut them out, but you wait for them to get up, and then as soon as they're up, you do your victory thing. It's like, oh, that was tasteless. I'm like, would have been better if I just did the lift over his like body. Like, I don't know. People always find something to be upset about, but I'd rather not give him double impact syndrome from falling up with a strike. I would rather not do that than do my victory dance. So
Hmm.
people get upset, but the negative attention and the positive attention works for me. So if they want to be angry, I'm happy for it.
Yeah, yeah, of course. I think they're just angry that they can't do the splits and you can, to be honest.
Yeah, man, I can do pretty rare things. That's just one of them.
I think you do that after every fight, don't you? After every win, obviously.
Yeah, I do it after every win. There was just one fight where I didn't because I pulled my groin backstage. But yeah, after my first amateur fight, I did it as like a joke. That was like my joke thing I do at wrestling practice, and I was like 19, so I was just out of wrestling for like 4 or 5 months. So yeah, I've always fallen into the splits as like a joke, and then I did it for my first fight, and my teammates were like, "That's your thing. That's the thing you got to do now," and it's the thing I have to do now.
Yeah, you can't stop that now. Once you've done it, especially in the UFC, you can't stop.
Yeah.
And obviously, after you've knocked him out, you've seen he was knocked out, and you ran out of the cage and spoke to his wife, which was actually in his corner. What did you say to her?
Well, I wish I could have said I was like really profound and eloquent, but you don't plan something like that, and it wasn't. There's not really a handbook on how to like talk to someone's spouse after you knock them out.
Yeah.
So at first I had to make sure it's his wife. I was like, "So are you his wife?" And she's like, "Yes." And I'm like, "Okay, that makes me feel horrible." And I'm like, I'm so sorry. And then she had a very surprisingly good grounded attitude. She's like, it's a fight game, it happens. And I'm like, wow, she was more calm about it than anyone else in that room, I'm pretty sure. So props to her. And then I was just like, your husband's a good man, I love him. And then I'm not sure if I reached out to hug her or she reached out to hug me. Because I got some crap from some people, like, oh, then he forced a hug. I'm like, I don't know if I forced a hug. But she gave me a hug, and, you know, we kind of parted ways. Security was all like, what are you doing? Because one of the things they didn't show on the air, because they go to commercial breaks and I'm starting to cry, you know. I never knocked anybody out. I had all these mixed emotions. And I'm all talking to my corners, they're comforting me, which seems ridiculous because I'm not the person that's hurt, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I'm going to talk to his wife. And they're like, don't talk to his wife. I'm going to do it. And I push him off. And the security's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm going to talk to his wife. And then you could tell the security guard kind of weighing his options. Like, will this guy slam me? He doesn't seem like he's going to freak out. So he let me pass, which I'm not sure if that's a good or bad, but good for me in that time. And then, you know, I was able to talk to her, and she seemed in good spirits and was able to get a message. Me and Matt were able to get a message to each other. He seemed in good spirits. So I don't think there's any bad blood, and I'm happy about that.
No, definitely not. It's obviously you were going over there with good intentions, so I don't think anyone can scoff at that, really. And one of the things that I've seen in, I think it was a post-fight interview, you said that you used to watch Matt on TV when you was younger. So how was it for you fighting against someone that you've previously watched and sort of looked up to?
I had mixed feelings. So when I got Matt Wyman's name for the contract, I was like, he's still fighting? And I was like, yeah, he did fight a few times in 2019. And then, like, I remember watching his fight with Cole Miller on repeat. And I always used to be impressed by Matt Wyman when I was younger because he was dropping for leg locks like 12 years ago. He would shoot single legs when single legs weren't common in MMA yet. Mm-hmm. The way he would close distance with his overhand rights and his leg kicks, I had like kind of implemented a lot of those things to my style. So it was pretty eerie to like fight someone that not only you looked up to and liked as a fan, but also someone whose style you kind of emulated yourself off of a little bit. Mm-hmm. So mixed feelings, but covering the camera right there. Mixed feelings, but it was an honor to face someone like that in my first UFC fight, the most experienced person I've ever fought, and yeah, it couldn't have been I don't want to say like it couldn't have happened to a better. It couldn't have done. The fight couldn't have happened against a better guy because of the outcome. But I'm very happy my first bout for the UFC was with the person I respect so much.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely a sort of like a show to you that you don't just show up in the UFC and get someone that you're going to walk over. You get someone that is there to fight every single time.
Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah. And do you like to prefer to stay active all the time? Because I think before your debut, you had your Dana White Contender Series fight. And before that, I think it was 18 days before your last fight.
Yeah, I definitely preferred to be active. When I first started my pro career, I couldn't find any fights because all my amateur fights were on YouTube. And I haven't had to show my striking really even now. And people know I come from syndicates, so they know my gym's well-rounded. So it just didn't make sense for a lot of people to risk fighting me. So I had trouble fighting fights, like I averaged like maybe a fight every 10 months. Mm-hmm. So I always had to fight undefeated kids, like go into their backyard or have them. They tried to feed me to several people, but then after that didn't work for the first 4 fights. They're like, oh, wait, like maybe we should try giving him some good matchups. Never happened, but I got, Matt Wyman was the first guy I fought with more than 1 loss. Everyone else I fought was either undefeated or like Luke Flores had 1 loss against Matt Frivola. So a lot of these fighters, they build their records off of, can crusher, like off of cans and cab drivers. But I've had to fight all of my fights. Mm-hmm. So I definitely feel like I have a lot of experience, even though I've only had 12 fights in amateur and pro.
Yeah, that's definitely a testament to you as well, because you've come through all that undefeated. So it's definitely good.
Iron.
Yeah, it definitely does. It definitely does. And like you said before, that was actually your first knockout, and you're known for your submission game. So that must have been such a surprise for you to to literally not only knock someone out, but knock someone out with a salam.
It's so funny because as a joke, my coach put $100 on me winning by first round knockout. Like, we're backstage, I'm hitting mitts, and I felt really smooth backstage. Like, the only reason I got a takedown because I was going for a nice little up elbow, but then he touched me, so I shot instead. My coach like, you're gonna knock him out, and I'm like, no, coach, like that's not what I do. Like, so when I got the slam knockout, my coach is like, that was the most Jordan-esque knockout ever because it was an accident. It went from goofy to scary really quick, and but yeah, my knockout, my UFC debut feels pretty cool. I'm not sure if the number's true, but it's like fastest debut in my division's history. So that was pretty tight.
Yeah.
Never expect to break any records. So I guess until someone has a faster debut, I'm kind of on that list. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that definitely is a cool one to hold. And it's not only your first round finish either. I think you've got 4 first round finishes, and one of the other ones was 17-second heel hook as well.
Yeah, I work so hard for my fights. Whenever I've had a fast finish, it's always felt very anticlimactic and kind of disappointing because I want to go out there and like break out a sweat. But yeah, that was my second fastest finish. I have a 17-second heel hook, which I'm very blessed to get because not a lot of people can do an Eminari roll and get it that quickly. But I have that on my highlight reel, so I'm not going to try that stupid move like in the UFC. I got that out of my system already. But yeah, I like to go out there really quickly. I'm a fast starter, and it's bittersweet when I get a quick finish, but you know, quick finishes are nothing to complain about at the end of the day.
No, especially when you get a 50K bonus on top of that as well.
No, not at all. It's definitely better than making $300 fighting in a high school gym on an Indian reservation. I've moved up in the world the past 12 months.
Definitely. And when you say 12 months as well to go from there to the UFC, that is some journey.
Yeah, night and day. It's been crazy. I've fought on baseball fields, high school gyms, Masonic temples, and then, you know, the apex with no crowd. I've had a very, very short but very interesting pro career. It's kind of fun.
Yeah. So far, I bet you can't wait to see the fans back in the arenas cheering your name, because that knockout would have been one of the most craziest things to hear with the audience around you.
Yeah, it was kind of funny because when I slammed him, you just hear Dana like, "What the?" You like hear him cussing in the background, and everyone is silent, like, except for one of my cornermen, like Chris. He's all clapping, but then he realized everyone's not making a sound. So like in the background, you see him stop clapping and look around. It was like you could hear a pin drop in there. I'm excited for the fans to be back in there because I've always been booed. I've always been fighting the hometown kids, like people cussing me out. You're gonna get knocked out. You're gonna die. And so maybe now that I'm popular, I'll get some cheers, and that'll be kind of fun. So I'm excited for the fans to be back.
I reckon they're going to love you, especially with all the after-fight celebration stuff you do, because that's so different. You don't really see anyone do it.
Yeah, and my walkout song was perfect, but there was no crowd to appreciate it, to laugh with me about it. So I'm excited to finally be able to get some pageantry for the next fight.
Yeah,
or hopefully
definitely. The next fight. And when do you look to get back in there? Because I know you've got, I think it's a daughter on the way.
Yeah.
So
my baby girl comes early February. So anytime late February and after, I'm totally down. I'm not going to be like the man who, like, his wife has a baby. Okay, I'm going into quarantine. See you later. But, you know, I guess if something came up last minute and I felt comfortable that my wife wouldn't go into early labor, I guess I could jump onto something next month. Fingers crossed. But more than likely, like March or April will be perfect. I'll still have some money left over from the 50K, and I'll make another one.
Nice. Well, congratulations on your child on the way.
Thank you very much.
That's okay. And where did your nickname come from as well? Because it's not normally a type of nickname you come across every day. Monkey King.
Yeah. It actually came to me 2 times in life. Like, I got the nickname in middle school when Forbidden Kingdom came out. So I went to a little private school, and there was like 100 students. And me and my friends, we just like, you know, like have kung fu fights on the stage in the auditorium like every day. And we were like, rough house, and we went to see the Forbidden Kingdom, and they're like, oh my gosh, that guy's like you, he's all playful and like awkward, and and I was like, okay, yeah, like I kind of dig that. So I was like the Monkey King for a short time during that little stint of my life, and then I think it came again my sophomore year of high school for wrestling. I had just like pinned a kid, and like as like a joke, all my things start off from being a joke that's sticking. But I like ran off I like did like a little like a dance, and then like jumped, like ran across the mat on my knuckles and stuff, and jumped into my chair. And they're like, you're like the Monkey King, man. Like going on there wrecking these kids, walking on your knuckles. It's cool. So it kind of came from two separate occurrences, and then. But those were the two origins of my nickname, and then also I was a big nerd. So like Hideyoshi Toyotomi was a general who conquered Japan. There's Journey to the West. Like it's a very common like archetype and trope in Asian mythology, and I was like, okay, this is a really cool legacy to kind of uphold. So I've kind of let it stick with me to my fight career, even though some people think it's racially charged in America, which, whatever. But yeah, it's a little kung fu thing.
Yeah, I think if you look at it in that way, you take it however you want, innit?
Yeah.
But it definitely, from the way you fight, like slamming people on the ground, suits you.
Yeah, I think so. I'm playful. Some people think I'm dangerous, like I think it fits. I think it's a perfect nickname for me. I'm not the babyface assassin or, something generic, unless that's your nickname, which is, I'm sorry if that's offensive, but, get some more creative nicknames out there.
Yeah, definitely. So what sort of stuff do you like doing outside of fighting? Because I know you're a quirky, funny guy.
Yeah, so I read a lot. I read a lot of fantasy, Stephen King, sci-fi. I'll play some RPG games like I play Mass Effect and Dragon Age Origins on loop constantly throughout the year. Skyrim, Oblivion. Play Civilization on my computer. What else do I like to do? I like to read poetry, look at art. I'm about to start getting into some D&D. I've been wanting to do that for years. I finally have like a party to join. I like to go running. I run barefoot, or I'll run in minimalist shoes. I like to play with my dog, or just hang out with friends and just chill. Maybe play some Mario Kart, eat some junk food, or just watch Netflix with my wife. I kind of I'm pretty low key. I just like to just chill. I'm active all the time in my day job, so it's whenever I'm relaxing, I'm actually relaxing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Going back to Stephen King novels, one of them that I really love, and they did a series on it as well, was Under the Dome. Have you ever seen that one?
I just bought my wife that for Christmas, the book series. It's one of his biggest books. I haven't read the book yet, or I haven't watched the TV show, because I want to read the book and then watch the TV show.
Definitely recommend reading the book first.
Yeah, it takes you like 50 hours to read those big books.
Yeah.
And it takes you like 20 hours to finish the TV show. So I'd rather have the TV show spoiled than the book. Because if you were reading a book, you know what's going to happen. It's a lot of time to invest in that. But yeah, we plan on reading that probably the next month or two of this year. So I'm excited to get into that.
Yeah, that's definitely a good one. Anyway, mate, I'll let you get to training, because that's all the questions I've got for you. I hope to see you back in there soon, and if not, I wish you well with your pregnancy and everything like that. Well, not your pregnancy, but your wife's pregnancy.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I'm not pregnant. He's giving birth to the baby. I'm just kind of the co-owner, so I'd like to be an investor. But yeah, thank you. It's been a good time. It was nice talking to you, and after my next fight, we'll talk again.
Definitely, I'm more than happy to do that.
All right,
thank you, mate. See ya.